Founder of the now bankrupt cryptocurrency exchange, FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried now faces an additional criminal charge on an issue that should be of great interest to accounts payable, payment, and accounting professionals everywhere. He has been accused of violating the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, or as I like to call it, many other professionals, the FCPA. In this episode, we answer a few basic questions about the Act and how it applies to every single organization. FCPA compliance is mandatory. Make sure you stick around until the end when we share a few places where accounts payable might find potential violations that elude others in the company. Hey guys, I'm Mary Schaefer, founder of AP Now, your one-stop shop for cutting-edge business intelligence if you work in, manage, or have responsibility for the accounts payable function. Alrighty, question number 1. What is Bankman-Fried accused of doing that broke the FCPA regulations? In early 2021, Chinese law enforcement authorities are believed to have frozen certain crypto trading currencies on 2 of China's largest cryptocurrency exchanges. The accounts, it said, contained $1 billion worth of crypto. Bankman-Fried was accused of directing $40 million in bribes to one or more Chinese officials to unfreeze the assets relating to his cryptocurrency business. Now, this $40 million, by the way, is believed to have been in cryptocurrency. Okay, question number 2. What is the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act? Very specifically, the FCPA prohibits U.S. persons, for which there is a very broad definition, from bribing foreign government officials. The list of what might be considered a bribe is actually quite long. Question 3. Why does accounts payable and accounting have to know anything about the FCPA? It's not like they're going to bribe a foreign government official. And while that's true, there is one other indisputable fact. You are usually the last set of eyes on your organization's money before that money goes out the door. So you have the opportunity to identify potential violations and bring it to the attention of the folks in your company who can do further analysis and stop it. You have the ability to protect your organization, if you will. Question number 4. Does the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act apply if the payment was made in crypto? Because after all, that act was passed a long time ago, and crypto is a very new phenomena, if you will. And yes, it does. And why is this? Because the act prohibits you using anything of value, okay? So it's not just money, it's anything of value, and that can be very broad, as Bankman-Fried found out, and so did some others. All right. Question number 5. Which government agencies administer the law? The FCPA is administered by the Department of Justice, the DOJ, and the Securities and Exchange Commissions, the SEC, if you are a public organization. 2 groups, excuse me, I'm guessing most of you have no interest in getting in trouble with. Question number 6. What are companies expected to do if they find a violation? They find that unintentionally or intentionally, it doesn't matter, one of their employees has bribed a foreign government official. Okay, the first thing obviously is don't break the law. Don't find yourself in this position, but it happens. And when it does, what are you expected to do? Report it. You are expected to go to the authorities and report it. Report what you found. Now, there was a famous example. It's well over 10 years now of Walmart. Walmart had a problem in Mexico. Local Walmart authorities had bribed some government officials in Mexico to get a building permit. And when it was discovered in, I don't know where in Walmart, back in the States, the company made the decision, or at least a few of its executives made the decision to cover it up. They figured, we haven't gotten caught so far, and how's anybody going to find this? And to a certain extent, they may have been correct. How would anybody find it? Maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't. That's a debate for another time. But what happened to them could happen to anyone listening to this. There was a disgruntled employee at Walmart who knew of this and was involved at some level, I don't know what, collected all the information and sent it to a reporter at the New York Times. And as they like to say, the rest is history, okay? So don't think, oh, how will anybody know? These things have a way of getting out. Question number 7. What happens if it is determined that a company is guilty of violating the FCPA? Some companies might want to do the analysis. Okay, well, the fine will be $5, but we'll make $500. Yeah, it's worth going forward. But let me explain why it's not. If you are found violating FCPA, there are several things that can happen. There can be fines, there can be penalties, and this is the biggie, potential jail time for your executives. And if you're wondering if this is just some theoretical, hoop-de-la, and that it never really happens, let me say that yes, in a few cases, executives have actually gone to jail over violations of the FCPA. So, it is something that we need to take very, very seriously. Now, before we get to those oddball places where you might find evidence and others maybe have missed it, I'd like to share with you that at AP Now we have over 300 videos in our library on YouTube and in our podcast library, and we make new accounts payable and payment videos every Tuesday and Thursday, and we're adding some short items on other days during the week. Occasionally on Saturdays, we have a little Wordle fun. So after you finish watching this, please check out the library to see if there's something there that might interest you or might help you. Question number 8. Where are some of these places that you should look that maybe people don't always think to look? Okay, place number 1, consultant invoices. Look especially for large amounts of money paid out with very little detail of services. So when you think about your typical consultant contracts, they go on for, several pages. There's a lot of details about deliverables and what people are supposed to do, et cetera, et cetera. If this is actually money being, funneled to somebody for a bribe, there's apt to be less detail and certainly no detail about the bribe. A large portion of these funds are often earmarked as to be passed along as a bribe, although you won't see that in your documentation, or at least you shouldn't see that in your documentation. I hope you won't, okay, because this is not permissible. It counts as a bribe even if you make it through a third party. Okay, so you don't have to make it yourself. You can direct a third party to make it on your behalf, and that still will count as a bribe. Next place you want to look, expense reports. These are often overlooked, but it's a great spot for a bribe. Expensive gifts or vacations are a way of disguising a bribe. So the expense report might say, that the company paid for this particular person who is a foreign government official to come to your office for consulting or for a meeting about some project, whatever, a legitimate business expense. But when the person comes, they're flight over first class, okay, then, that in itself isn't a problem. But where the problem comes out is that the person brought their entire family and then the company paid for a trip to Disneyland. That's where the bribe comes in, okay? And that's what you have to look for. So again, large amounts of money. At a conference, I once had someone tell me that they had an expense report where one of their salespeople, I think it was, had put through a gift that was a $35,000 pocketbook, a purse, a woman's purse. Now, they didn't think it was a bribe. Let me know in the comments below what you think. I'm sure you can guess what I'm thinking. Expensive gifts, by the way, disguising bribes, aren't the only questionable expense reporting habits some of your employees might have, hopefully only a few. We recently did a video on 8 such habits that you might want to watch out for. You can watch it right now using the link that will appear momentarily on YouTube and is in the show notes below. As always, we appreciate your thumbs up, your comments, your shares, and your subscribe.